Right now we're operating on the northwestern side of Ellesmere Island. We're approximately 420 kilometers northwest of Eureka right now. We left Eureka by Skidoo on the 29th of March, so 4 days ago. And we still have an additional 100 or so kilometers to travel up the northwest shore. We also had another patrol which actually left from Alert, the most northerly tip, as you know, of the Ellesmere Island, traveling the southwest shore, and we'll actually bypass them as they go past us.
I think we're learning things today that we haven't learned in the past, whether it's how to sustain operations in the northern climate, and I'm talking logistics, support, resupply, or whether it's how do you actually operate in an environment that is, a climatic challenge. So we're getting better at that, and we're creating a small group of people that can do that.
The rangers are, for us, our experts. They are our guides. They know how to survive in the land. They know how to survive in those type of harsh winters up in the Arctic. So they're really our experts and our guides to help us accomplish a team effort with regards to the sovereignty of Canada. In general, there is 3 major sovereignty operations that GTFN leads per year, like up NUNALIVUT, long-range patrol sovereignty operations, showing the flags, the boots on the ground with regards to the sovereignty of Canada. Right now what's going on is a big logistic buildup. Hercules from Yellowknife are ferrying skidoos, rations up to Eureka and also to Alert. For the operation itself, we're going to have 1 team, 1 patrol launching from Alert, and from Eureka we'll have 2 patrols, and this will include also the location of our forward command post. Basically, they will be conducting a long-range patrol in this high Arctic to demonstrate our sovereignty.
Patrol 1, they based themselves out of Eureka. They deployed out on the 29th, and their whole trek in terms of going out and redeploying back was a total distance on the odometer. It probably read about 1,400 clicks. Their responsibilities, their mission, besides just putting the boots on the ground, which they did successfully, but in addition to that was supporting scientists. Patrols 2, similar to Patrol 1, they deployed into Eureka, got their kit 48 hours in advance. They deployed here on the 29th. They actually had the longest leg out of the 3 patrols. I think they clocked somewhere on the odometer near 1,700 clicks in total. That includes the travel distance plus their support to science. Patrol 3, they were the only one that didn't deploy out of Eureka, using Eureka as the initial staging base. They deployed out of Alert, and their route was Alert along the northwestern coast of Ellesmere Island, which was traversed last year by one of our Ranger patrols, kind of proving the route for this entire operation. We go into planning, we have to say how are we going to sustain it, and this year we use 440 Squadron.
440 Squadron flies the CC-138 Twin Otter. We're based in Yellowknife, and we support a lot of JTFN taskings throughout the Arctic, basically north of 60. Our role in NUNALIVUT has been just to support the Rangers, and we've got 3 airplanes up here, and we're able to resupply them as they travel between points on their snowmobiles. And this year we've done a very good job of being ahead of them and putting in supplies that they can meet up with when they need them, as well as flying in replacement kits. So whenever they break a snowmobile or a Comatic, we're able to come in there and give them something new that they can work with and keep them moving. We do our best to fly out here safely with the aircraft that we have.
Patrols like this are important to Canada for a few reasons. I mean, obviously the first one is the sovereignty aspect, the showing of the flag, letting other nations know that, yes, this still belongs to Canada and we are here and we've got a foot on the ground. At the same time, it's also a good chance for us as the military side to exercise and maintain an alertness and a capability to survive and work efficiently up here in the north. Attached with this patrol specifically is Dr. Luc Courtenay from the University of Ottawa. He's a professor of geography. What he's going to do is drill a couple of holes with the assistance of the Rangers, and we're going to measure the changes that have occurred in the ice shelf since the last time it was recorded, which was approximately 50 years ago. So it should give them a good yardstick on what's happening.
The International Polar Year is a big international focus on the polar regions, both the Arctic and the Antarctic. This is currently the 4th one. The last one was 50 years ago in the 1950s, and it's really kind of taking stock of what's happening in the polar regions at the present day. So seeing how things have changed over those last 50 years, but also kind of making fundamental baseline measurements to see how things might change going into the future too. We're coming up here to measure the ice shelves. There's only 5 ice shelves left here today, and it's such a tough place to get to. We can't get to this place really by any other way than coming with the military. There's a lot of skill set that we don't have as scientists. I mean, as scientists we know how to make the measurements, but a lot of just fundamental day-to-day living, how to repair cometics and so on, how to repair skidoos, we don't really know so much as civilians, and that's where the forces side really comes in and really makes it very helpful. If we come by ourselves, we can maybe just get to one location and camp there for a few weeks. With the rangers, we can travel huge distances and survey the entire coastline, see how all of it is changing at one time. You know, we're not just looking at one single place. And the rangers are really the experts at living on the land. I mean, they know how to survive in the cold, how to make things work when it's this tough of an environment. It allows us to do a lot more measurements than we would be able to do otherwise. Today we set up a satellite-linked weather station. This is a weather station which will be here permanently now, transmitting all the time, so we can see how the climate's changing, how the weather is changing from day to day. Some of the other measurements that we're making, we're measuring the depth of the ice shelves here using a radar system, and we're measuring how fast the ice shelves are moving using a differential GPS system. In terms of feeding back to science, when I make measurements, when I give lectures to my students in my classes, for example, I think having that on-the-ground experience brings so much more that you can't get just from looking at textbooks, for example. I think the patrols are so important because there aren't really local communities here to keep a look at in these areas very, very far north on northern Ellesmere Island. And without the expertise of people like the rangers, then there's no one else here to look after the land. And I think it's really the only way that we can get up to these high areas and really look at what's happening.